Welcome back to AM Northwest. It's a new concept, precycling. That's what it's called, precycling. That's when you return precious resources to the earth by not buying products in the first place. So here to tell us more is the author of the Tchotchke Challenge, Barry Dennis. Nice to have you back, Barry.
Great to be back.
Precycling, I'm starting to hear that term more and more. Explain the concept.
Yeah, to me, what it means is to actually return precious raw materials back to the earth before you actually took them. So it's almost like traveling through time.
Oh, okay. Yes, right.
Putting the materials back for a wiser generation, for a brighter future. So imagine when you're in a store, imagine you suddenly get this urge, I call it, a tchotchke trigger. So all of a sudden you think you're triggered, you think you need to get something. So imagine when you take something off a shelf, in your mind, imagine there's a string or almost like an elastic string attached to that thing. And so you pull it, and that string pulls behind it, and that string goes down to the earth, through the manufacturer, back to the farm, back to the tree, back to the animal. What you're doing in that moment, when you take it off the shelf, you're actually placing an order in the future for more of this to be made.
What kind of products are we talking about, though?
Anything.
Anything.
So
anything and everything.
You're not even just talking the packaging that it's in. You're talking anything.
Anything and everything. Because as soon as you take it off the shelf, what you've done is you've placed an order in the future for another one to be made. So when you take it off the shelf, you're actually saying dig another hole, cut down another tree, kill another animal, or cut down some more plants and stuff to make more. So you're just placing an order for another one of these. So you pull it, the string comes, it actually goes, for example, right down in the earth, and that string pulls, it makes a hole in the ground. That's what you're doing. But when you put it back, so you pull it and you go, wait a minute.
Okay, but there are some things we have to have. I mean,
yeah, I'm not even saying this is bad necessarily.
Okay,
so the conscious thing is to go take it in your hand, the string starting to pull, and say, this is just conscious consumerism. Is this thing really worth all the time, effort, energy, and material that it takes to make? Because if it's worthy of another tree, another animal, another hole, another plant being destroyed, then wonderful. Get it, use it, love it, appreciate it. If not, put it back. Then that string goes back onto the shelf, goes back into the future. Oh, they just canceled an order a month from now. Don't make another one. We don't need to dig another hole, make more mess. So that's the act of precycling. Actually, in the future, you put that back in the ground, you leave it there for a wiser generation, because we're doing a lot of things and making a lot of products and a lot of things that we will know 100 years from now was not very wise.
Right.
And if you look at our past, we did it. We're waking up. We're getting more aware of it. But this is a way to bring more consciousness to that now.
What about things you need? For instance, let's talk about food. And I was just discussing with you before the show about packaging, and even like tomatoes come in out plastic bins, or lettuce comes in those clear plastic containers
you can get an apple in its own little plastic container. Well, that's what the little cover is for. Nature already made one. An orange comes with it. But more than that, food's a good example of changing the supply, or it's another idea of precycling. Because when we go shopping, for example, just buying food that's organically made, what you're doing right there is you're changing the supply by revamping your demand.
A lot of people talk about organic and more earth-friendly kinds of products are more expensive. But you're saying if more people would purchase them, it would drive price down.
Because what you're doing is you're instantly funding that way of doing things. Right now, it's not done as often. That's why it's more expensive. But once it becomes the norm, the price will go down, and we all become healthier because of it. And it's not even so much, the food with the pesticides and such isn't as healthy for us to eat, but it's the runoff, it's, through the forest, into the rivers, what it does to the fish, what it does.
We as consumers, if we demand earth-friendly products,
it changes the supply.
Because manufacturers want to give us what we want. They ultimately want our money. Right. So if we don't buy products that are heavily packaged and opt for something less packaged, they'll all eventually trend that way.
Yeah. Supply and demand is a beautiful thing, except for when we demand things that aren't good for us, our children, and the earth. It's up to us.
You also say don't replace things.
Yeah, don't replace everything. That feeling that things have to be, you have to get the latest thing, the newest thing. That feeling inside of us is triggered by this idea that's sort of ingrained into our culture that, well, it's not good. What you have isn't good anymore. You need to get the latest thing, or you're not keeping up with the Joneses. So we almost feel like it's a competition. But what's actually happening is most of the stuff that we have, like our iPhones or different technologies, we really never really learn to use all the options that came with it in the first place, and now we're already ready to get rid of it, get another one that we're never really going to use, and then you get another one. So I have this rule of never getting the next option, the first next option. First of all, they're working out the bugs.
Right.
That's one of the things. So why do it? But secondly, appreciate what you have, learn to use it, optimize it first, and then as things really improve and get better, and as something really breaks and actually is no good anymore, then it's time. But to do it every time, we're just throwing stuff away.
And that's the concept you have about wanting what you already have. Want what you have, and then finally, decluttering your life. How does that help keep the earth whole?
So what you want to do with our whole life, the first thing you want to do, where does clutter come from? It comes from excess. So it comes from buying stuff we don't need. So we clutter our life with this, what I call the line of excess. Anything over the line of excess has become tchotchke. It's just stuff that gets in the way and causes stress. So it comes by continually bringing stuff in and filling our spaces and just stressing us out. So as we look at our environment and begin to get rid of all the excess, the stuff that's in the way, the stuff we don't need, the stuff we're not using, the extra things that are crowding what we actually want to get to. For example, clothes in your cupboard. Right. It's so crowded you can't find your favorite shirt underneath all. So as we get rid of that stuff, it frees our mind, it creates ease, and then we get clear with the truth that what actually feels good is having some empty space, having clarity, being able to see what you actually want, having some simplicity, so you don't fill it back up.
Very good. All good tips. Thanks for coming by today. We appreciate it.
It's great
to have you here again.